Hello, hello. This will probably be the first YouTube video that I will be uploading now. There are more on the way, more planned. But instead of reviewing another team like I've done in the past on stream, I think we're going to be reviewing a game that I myself played in and looking at what I could have done better, both as an IGL and as a player, and also thinking about a little bit about how you can approach a game when you know you're the underdog and how you can approach the game from an underdog mindset and making a game competitive, despite on paper you should never be able to make it competitive. So what we're going to be doing today is just that we're going to be looking at the game that I played in against Fnatic. So this was played approximately at the time of this recording a week and a half ago. So this is quite a recent game. At the time of this, Fnatic are ranked, I think, 25 in the world at the time of playing this game. Despite this being a very unfavored matchup on paper, the match ended up being 11-13, and funnily enough, me and my team had the lead in this game all the way up until the final 2 rounds. We had the lead for this game. So let's see what happened, what we did well and what went wrong, and how we almost beat Fnatic. We ended up getting the positive trades. Nothing super of interest to say here, honestly. Got the good pistol round roll. So here we get away with a pretty clean anti-eco. We lost 2 players, but that's 2 Mac 10, so it's not the biggest of losses. And now we're into the first buy round. So what's interesting to look at in this game is the way that we approach this game in the first couple of buy rounds on T side and also on CT side. And I will hopefully be able to give a little bit more nuisance in what we did and why it worked out. So if we just look at this round, purely objectively, you can see a quite clear start from ours, which is me having solo mid pressure whilst we're working 4 guys towards the B area. And my job in mid here is basically to just put pressure. I molly heaven, I smoke the molly, trying to put enough pressure to make the CTs not be able to instantly fight up heaven. In the meanwhile, what my teammates do on the B side of the map is just play quite aggressively towards B here. We see this molly flying in gives this B player rest. Quite a clear path where this molly is too late to actually be able to do anything against him, and he will be able to be up here in such a close position where you can have a flash ready from this player as well, if necessary. And we just also, Yums while also tanking the molly slightly, and we're also just 2 guys up here instantly, putting body in a very uncomfortable position and killing him. At this point, this round is very wide open for us to get a trade out. We fight our ramp together here. Very crucial triple kill here as well. This part of the round, I would say, is more or less an individual skill. This triple kill from Yum here is very, very individually based. This is not due to a great call, but what the call allowed was us to getting into a clean 4v5 position that turned into 5v4, sorry, that turned into 4v4. And what's interesting to note here, where I think you can actually take a lesson from in terms of how you can approach a game coming into it as underdogs, is that the crucial step of having preparation. Now, we had a lot of good preparation for this game because we knew we had this game a day in advance. So we knew the map and we knew who we were playing against a day in advance. So we prepared quite heavily for this game. However, what you need to be aware of is that when you play against a top tier team like Fnatic, your preparation is not going to yield as much clear rewards as it would against a worse team. When you're preparing an anti-stratting, whatever you want to call it, against a ESEA main team, ESEA Advanced team, even top 100 team in the world, you will be able to very often find clear tendencies where if they throw this nade set, it'll mean this round is going to be coming, or one of these 2 rounds is coming. Like there's not that much variation. There's not very much masking for strategies. So when a piece of util comes, you'll be able to know that okay, this will most likely result in this, and you can make a clear and like an educated guess based on that. This is not as easy to do when you're playing better teams. Better teams are very good at masking this, and that's why these anti-strat won't yield as much rewards. However, despite not having any clear anti-strat in that regard, what we knew, this side of the map was weak early in the game. This was the main preparation that we got, and that this area is hard to work early in the round. We know that they tend to take this and then fall back, so we know that mid is weak after the first 30-40 seconds. We know A is quite strong all around the round, and we know that B is quite weak early in the round. So how do we use this? Well, the first round here we play 4 guys towards B, and we just brute force up ramp. In this second round, we're playing against a low buy with just 1 gun saved. Due to some poor decisions in how we approach this anti-eco rounds, this still turns into a 1v1 here that I win out, which is quite fortunate for me. Now we're in for the second buy round of this game. So as we said, the preparation is that they tend to block this area early, play this area quite weak early. There was also another quite clear preparation that we had on these guys, which is that they do B aggression sometimes as CTs, but this B aggression is not majority through cave. This B aggression is majority through ramp. So we start this round pretty similarly, but with just a team holding a flash early for me here in mid. Now I don't have the document up now, but I believe due to one of these nades that they threw in this round, we knew that this would be a B aggression. I think it might have been the fact that they double nade here over B rather than mollying, which they usually tend to do. That told us here that there would be 3 guys towards the B side. And when they do this, their B aggression, which we knew of, was going to be majority through ramp. So if we see the way that we, again, with the preparation here, this is one of the only times in this game where we had like a fine, detailed preparation of how they would do it and why, and countering it. So we knew this. We also hear them close ramp here. So we counter mollied, nade up from Yumswa. We're taking cave to try and get rid of this area at the same time, whilst he's just holding this ramp push. He trades 1 for 1. These guys trade 1 for 0 on the cave player. And at the same time as this aggression is coming in, I am aware that their mid is weak during this take. I am quite fortunate, I'm not gonna lie, to not die to Afro here. And we're also aware of this potential of B push. We managed to catch that off guard. Here we get into a round that's quite wide open. I just go into A to generate info. I get info on the upper here, we speed into B, plant B, they're saving. Now the first thing that I spoke about watching this game was having preparation, right? When you're going into a game, you're not the favorites. Even if you are the favorites, I generally tend to have preparation for the enemy teams, that we're not going into it completely blind. I think that's a good rule of thumb. But especially if you're playing against a team that's better than you, you need every margin in your way, right? So the first thing that we spoke about here, that we can take a lesson from, is preparation and having an understanding of how you wish to approach the game. So you don't go into the game completely blind and get caught off by the way that they play. You need to have an understanding of the way that they play. We knew how these guys would play approximately on their CT and T side, and we created a plan of how we wish to approach the game against that. Now here's the second lesson I would say that we can see from this game, is that when something's working, now it's not wrong necessarily to try to switch things up, even if things are working, trying to do something else because you think that they are going to counter what you have been doing, right? So for example, here we have played quite heavily B and we have gotten success towards the B sides, right? So it's not unreasonable to think, oh, the CTs are going to do something more heavy B here, which leaves a gap in mids. However, and this is very sensitive because it can be either way, but generally speaking, I don't think that you should be like the team that's losing is the team that's forced to play reactively. They're forced to change something up in the way they play because they clearly haven't gone working whatever they're doing. If they don't change anything up, I think it's a good idea to continue doing what you've been doing to punish the way that they're playing. What I do but poorly here is that I switch up how we're playing. So we're starting to play heavy mid here, despite us having info that they're playing heavily towards the mid side early. Now, this call is not even necessarily bad. They're starting 3 guys towards B. There are only 2 guys mid. And there's another small little thing here that's worth noting, is that this particular molly that we can see from the CTs also told us in this round, this is also due to preparation, that they're starting 3B, because this molly was not thrown ever when they're only 2B. So there's a small thing here, which is that had we been more vocal, this B player rests would be able to call that we should just speed up A. because we know that this area is clear, and the only rotation can come from here. So if we smoke this, A site's clear. However, we fulfill this mid pop. I go out and die to a full blind blame F. Due to us flashing ourselves, we're not able to go out with it, right? This is just a clean 4v5 that we're winning. It's even a 3v5, honestly. Then temporarily 3v5. Now again, what you need to understand is that despite I would say that we play this game very well as a team, with having good idea of how we want to approach the game, some good calls from me, some good initiatives, some good mid rounds. If you're beating a team that's significantly better than you, at least on paper, as I said, this Fnatic team, we should never be able to play close to them if we're looking at on paper. There has to be fragments of individuals really having a good performance, right? You can never deny that. You can never deny the fact that CS is, at the end of the day, it's a day-to-day performance game. The team that's playing better on that day can beat the team that's playing worse on that day, despite whatever general tendencies are ruling, right? We saw that 3k from Hume earlier that got us the first buy round towards B lane. We can also see here a very, very impactful round from Wumbo, who is the upper, right? Winning out this duel on Afro. Then in this 3v3, making a very good individual decision to take initiative, go through this smoke, fight a duel on the long player. And I believe he also ends up winning this 1v1 in the end. And stuff like this is necessary if you're going to win an upset. You're not going to win this by every player playing their B game. You need somebody at some periods of the game playing on their A game. We can see here once again, we're moving back to what has been working. Right? Again, back to the game plan. They're playing heavy for mid, they're playing heavy for A. Let's just play solo mid, let's just play 4 guys towards B and just work up ramp together, right? We're boosting up the upper, we're searching up ramp, very clean entry from rest. And at this point, the upper even manages to catch up the other guy, and we just have B side here, 4 guys pushed up. I got info on the A guy, I got info 2 guys are mid. It's just a clean round because we had a plan. Now at this point in game, the rounds start going against us. We had the 7-0 start on our T side, and this half ends up being a 7-5 half for us, which is still very good T side, don't get me wrong. But when you look at this scoreline, you would expect us to be able to get more rounds. Now, how does this happen is also something that we can take a lesson from. Once again, we can ask ourselves the question, something is working, should we not just continue doing that? Now, again, we know that the CTs are eventually going to start countering the way that we're playing. Eventually, they're going to get the AWP started long, maybe holding up the ramp aggro, maybe having a site-heavy setup, maybe aggroing out cave. There are definitely weaknesses in the way we have been playing these rounds. But the thing is, again, the CTs have not found ways to punish us yet. What I do poorly here, despite the call not even being bad, and despite it being more a question of execution, sticking to the way that we wished to approach this game would probably be a more favorable outcome, right? And sticking to the way that has been working, right? We can see here once again, A is weak because they're starting a 3 mid. They are, again, trying to find solutions here. This is exactly what I just spoke about. The AWP starting long, they're 3 mid, the mid players are insta-aggroing heaven. They're trying to find a solution to us having so much pressure up ramp. So the A rush that I call is not necessarily even a wrong call. I mean, the rotation is just extremely weak from the CTs. The CT player is not able to get anything done. We get the bomb down here in a clean 5v5 situation. This round is honestly, it's not a bad call. This is not a matter of bad calls. And I don't think it's as black and white as saying something's working, keep doing it, or that it's wrong to switch it up, right? Because this switch up in the call here from me is, in my opinion, quite objectively, a very good call, right? We put the CTs right where we wanted them. There's nobody A. The A site's completely weak. We have A site with no casualties. This should be a clean retake, clean post plan from us. However, due to some individual mistakes, we used one too many smokes, so we don't have any re-smokes for CT or Donut here. We also took quite poor post plan positions and didn't really make a decision, and the CTs end up punishing this. Our post plan position are very weak in this case, and we lost some individual duels. But this round in the call itself was good. The execution was rather lacking, though. This round is another case of where you can ask yourself, should we switch up the way we have been playing? Should we just continue playing 1-4 and try to continue the way that we have won some rounds working up ramp? Or Is it okay? Is it a good decision to switch it up? What I call in this round is to switch it up. So we're playing a 4 guys towards B here, a 4 guys towards A start. We're not necessarily playing hard for an early mid pop. The idea here is that if our B player has the tell, which is this specific molly from the CTs, that they are starting 3B, we can instantly react out A. Now this doesn't come in this round. Our B player does not get this info, and the CTs do a 3-2 start. Once again, they're doing this start with the oblong, B player helping out mid, and they're working up heaven. So on this, when we don't get this, we're going into a move that's simply us doing a B retake together. And the CTs fall into quite a defensive setup, so they're losing this mid info. They're very afraid of A here. And once again, this call on paper is not necessarily bad. We had a plan early, that is, if they start 3B, we can react A into a weak bomb site. They don't do this, we lean into a late B retake where we are at a man advantage here. However, a good game plan cannot work fully without individuals fulfilling their roles in the game plan. So once again, in this round, due to individual mistakes, we end up getting caught off guard before this B retake is set in action. Had this B retake been done as it should have been done, the way we want it to be done, you can ask yourself if this round wouldn't have just been us getting 2 clean kills and then this being another 8th round for us. But that's always impossible to know, so it's hard to engage in thinking like that, right? But we end up losing this round, we're forced to be on an eco, and this half is now guaranteed minimum 3 rounds for the CTs. Once again, a switch up in the call. And here, there are a couple of details, right? Question A is, should we even work towards mid here? Again, we know they're playing very strong here early. We know that it's a hard area. I don't think so in hindsight when I watched back this demo. And B is that our B player here got the info that they were 3B. With this specific piece of util that we had preparation against, we knew that they started 3B here. So the issue in this round as well is that this B player does not call at this point in a clear manner that we should react out A, which we have as a protocol that some teams do, which is us just reacting out A on this info, right? This is not uncommon, but we don't end up doing it this round. We try to get out mid. Again, individual mistakes in the round. That's despite the round not being perfectly called, the idea might not be the best. We had a plan, individual execution not always on point, and that can always happen, right? You can't exclude individuals to make mistakes. That's always going to happen to some degree. We end up losing this round. Final round this half. We're basically just doing a full send round. We almost get this off, but again, there are individual mistakes, right? I overpeak into this CT without a smoke. We forget completely to clear this backplat position, which ends up netting Crims, I think 3 kills. And this round's now a 7-5 half. After a lost pistol round, we're doing a forest buy round here. Just basically banking on them playing B early. We were very fortunate to end up winning this round. A double kill from Rest, followed up by him making a risky play in this 4v2 situation. That ends up netting us this round. And here we got the T's right where we want them. Despite us throwing a bit on the lead that we had, we're now in an 8-6 positions. T's are forced to be on a 4-spy round, which they do here. We win this round, it's going to be 10-6 confirmed. So again, we have a pretty good idea of what we want to do. We start an aggro A setup. We're holding this mid info. B player ends up going 1-for-1. Cave player also ends up getting a kill and surviving long enough for the rotation to come in. And despite this round getting quite dangerously low, we end up winning it out in the end. So again, T's are on eco here. This round not too eventful, they go fast B, we end up killing them all. This round here starts off quite sloppily due to some issues with the dropping guns in the beginning of the rounds and etc. Very strange start to the rounds. We do end up getting a clean entry here though, as I end up getting Afro here. So this is a 5v4. A negative B push ends up losing us that kill. This round turns into a 4v4. Rounds played out. Nothing of super big interest to see here, right? Again, due to some individual poor decisions, with us peeking alone, missing a molly from me there, this round becomes quite hard to win, and we end up losing it out. Whenever you're playing a game like this, you can always look at it as being the victory, if you would to win it, would be a combination of very good individual performances when necessary, and also good game plan going into it, right? As we have seen several rounds here, though, there have been a lot of individual mistakes, right? Now, you can attribute this to 1,000 different factors. You can just say that it's a skill gap, if you wish. I would say that some of these rounds is also a combination of the nerves that we're experiencing. Now, these nerves may not be the largest, but when you are in a situation like this, it's easy that you get overthinking or get too comfortable. We're looking at this B aggression round that we do. We end up going a 1-for-1, and our A player manages to get 2 kills here, which is extremely crucial. If he doesn't get the second kill, we'll probably end up losing this round. I get fortunate to not die here in mid. While we have lost rounds due to individual poor mistakes, we have also won rounds due to individual highlights. And that's always just a matter of CS. At the end of the day, it's an individual game. This is an 11-7 scoreline, and the problem is at this point we lose the game 6 rounds in a row. Now, while there are things that could be interesting to watch in these last few 6 rounds, which we have found interest in because we have found things that we can improve of, I don't really believe that in the purpose of this video, which is more so how you can even get to this position, because again, we should never be able to get into this position. If you look at it from the position of their ranking contra our ranking, and you look at the position of these players' opportunities compared to ours, I think what you can take note from is learning the things that we spoke about, right? The keys to preparation, remembering that at the end of the day, it's an individual performance. You need performance from the players to get into these types of position, and also not overthinking yourself, right? Not trying to counter something where the enemy team is looking for the solution to what you're doing. When you're winning, they are the ones that are forced to react and find a solution to this. You always need to think about also how are we winning these rounds? Is the initial play actually working? For example, when we're playing 4 towards B, right? We end up actually getting the kill and getting the site. But on the other hand, if we ended up losing trades here, if we say go 1-for-1, 2-for-1, you know, we're in a 3v4 at B lane if they aggro us, and then we win this 3v4 by doing mid rounds towards A or B or whatever, then no, it's not us playing 4B that's necessarily winning us this round, it's us doing a good mid rounds. That's also something you need to think about. How were we winning these rounds? But if you're winning them convincingly towards this area of the map, the CTs have to find a solution for this. You don't have to find a solution to this. They need to. You are winning, they're not. That's something that you can also think about, right? When should you change things up? And in my opinion, when you are winning in a convincing fashion, you don't need to change things up. Now, it's also worth noting that despite us ending up losing this game due to Fnatic punishing our mistakes, we had a lot of good opportunities to close this game. This round is that we could have reset this round into being a clean 5v3 that we should be able to convert. However, due to some individual mistakes, this becomes a 2v2. Due to more individual mistakes of me searching a duel, which I know he's aware of, it becomes a 1v2 and my teammate loses out to clutch. It's rounds like this that happen, but you need to minimize how often these rounds happen, because you're not going to consistently be able to beat better teams than you if you're not able to avoid the silly mistakes. Here's another little lesson. In this round, we're expecting an A rush, but we don't actually do a response against it, don't start any form of setup that's strong against it. And we have no kit in this round, by the way. We have no kit, we have low util. The problem is here as well, lesson, chalk up your losses. We're down 11-10, our loss is not the best. If we save here, we can actually ensure that we can buy the last potentially two rounds of the game, right? Or the last, well, it will be 2 rounds of the game anyways, right? But due to the stubbornness of trying to win, we go for this retake despite it being damn near impossible. We have no flank, we have no util advantage. We just got out-called in this round, but we want to win so much that we're trying to win a round that we can't win. And this costs us more in the long run because we're forced to eco, giving them 12, and we're getting 1 more buy on this game rather than 2. And the way this game ends for us is on an equally big heartbreak as us even losing any of these rounds that led up to this situation, right? We get a 5v4 here after an AWPer entry in mid against their AWPer. We are having a setup countered against this, but in some fucked up universe, Mattis gets a clean kill back here. The B hold is not strong enough. To be fair, we're getting to 3v2 here, but once again, due to individual poor mistakes, us not actually daring to cross here towards long to secure this area, and also a completely whiffed spray from yours truly, this game ends up being a loss this round as well. And then the lost 1v1, it's just a tragedy all around. But I do believe that for us as a team, and also for you who's watching, can take lesson in how you can get into this position, and also learning from the mistakes we made, and also learning from the good things that we did in this situation. The things we did to get into this position, and also avoiding the mistakes we did to lose this position that we were in. That's about it for today. I thank you all for watching, and I hope that you will enjoy more content like this in the future, both focused on myself, my team, and also on other teams and concepts within CS. Thank you so much.